Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to Bones Collector, and today we're going to talk about the top 10 small box card games. Games that I love and have had over the years that I want to talk about. It's a category that gets overlooked quite a bit because they're just not that big. I think in board gaming we all relate popular and exciting games to large games that are expansive or have a huge story or have all these components. And a lot of times we get lost in that a little bit. So today I want to talk about some small box card games that excite me, games that I absolutely adore. And let's get started with that right now. And the first game I'm going to talk about is Mandala. Now this is the biggest box I'm going to talk about today as far as a physical box. This is a two-player only game, and it hasn't been out that long, and 2019 says on the box. That sounds about right. But this is simply a deck of cards and a linen towel, which is going to be your board that has two mandalas on it. You're going to play cards into those mandalas in either the mountains or the fields. Once all six colors of cards in this deck of cards are represented in one of those mandalas, then you're going to stop and separate the cards that are in the mountains, and players are going to take turns drafting what's in there. And you're going to put those in a scoring river, and you're going to score those cards according to where you put them in the river. This game is absolutely fabulous. It's designed by Trevor Benjamin and Brett J. Gilbert. And another game I have like this is Patterns. If you haven't played that, it's another fabulous game. I mean, this is a game that's evergreen. It keeps on giving. It's different every time you play it because it's cards. It's just random the way things are played, and it just is so outstanding. I can't say enough about it. I can never picture myself ever getting rid of this game, and the game is called Mandala. It's by Lookout Games. Alright, this is a game, this is no particular order. We're calling this a top 10 list, but I'm just not an order kind of guy. So I'm just going to talk about these games, and you can put them in order in your own mind if you need to have that to validate the video. But I'm just going to talk about the games that I have in my library. This is Star Realms. Now we had to buy a custom container for our Star Realms deck. We have a few small expansions in here. Oh, sorry. A few small expansions in this box. And Star Realms takes place in space, and you can play outposts and bases in front of your fleet that the other player has to attack and bring down before they can attack your fleet. Okay, so this is a deck building game, a hand management game, that you are going to select cards out of a market that you can pay for and put those in your deck and try to get those played in front of you. And the first one to deplete the opponent's life is going to be the winner of the game. So you're attacking each other continually in Star Realms, but that is fun. I mean, it's just an outstanding game to play. It's very simple. Star Realms, it's one of the easiest games you'll play. This game was $9.99, I think, when we purchased it in 2014 or 15 or whatever, and have played it and played it and played it and played it. Wore out the tuck box. We played it so much it just got all tore up. We just cut the front of it off and stuck it on there. And Lori found this on some kind of a...
Not on Game Nerds, I think.
Game Nerds or something.
It's just a Game Jenny tuck box.
And it's a tuck box that we have our whole deck of Star Realms in. It's a game we come back to all the time because it's so much fun. And there is also a sister game to this called Hero Realms, but we don't like the fantasy as much as we do the science fiction in this particular case. But that's Star Realms. You can just play it and play it and play it. It's very easy to learn and fun to play. Alright, next game I'm going to talk about is Wizards of the Grimoire. This isn't a very old. This says 2023 on the box. That sounds about right. I think it is kind of new.
We didn't get it till 24.
Yeah, but no, I think we have it 20 because it's in my 23 video.
Okay.
But Wizards of the Grimoire is a game where two people are going to be battling back and forth and casting spells. And you have a market of 10 spells, and a deck of cards is going to replenish those spells. But you're going to simply take one of those spells on your turn and play it in front of you. You can only have 6 spells in front of you. If you have 6 spells in front of you and you take another card from the market, you cannot play it unless you have one of those spells that has no mana on it. Now what is mana? Mana is the other deck of cards that's in here. And the mana is used to fire off those spells. The cost of that spell is the same as the mana that is required to cast it. And as you're going through the round, you're going to have a cooldown mechanism. So the cooldown mechanism takes mana off of your cards. And then once the mana has been removed, on your next turn, you can play 3 mana, which is the cost of that card, put it on that card, on that spell card, and fire off that spell. So you're going to be left with 3 mana on there because you just fired it off. And then again, as the round progresses, mana will come off of that, and once it's empty, you can fire it off again by placing 3 more mana on top of that card. And this is a game that's very close in scoring because of the way it's designed. And it's one of the things I like about it. There are no spell cards in here that are going to destroy your opponent in one move. There's nothing like that. You're going to win this game in a very close fashion because that's the way it's designed. The art in the game is good. The card stock is outstanding. I love the magnetic closure on the box. Yeah, I love that kind of thing. And this game is called Wizards of the Grimoire from 2023. And the designer, I didn't mention that. The designers are Cole and Joe Banning. So brothers, I would assume maybe. But yeah, it's Wizards of the Grimoire. Okay, here's a little tuck box of a game called Ohanami, designed by Stefan Bendorf. And this game, I think it's the same designer who did the game. If you're familiar with the game, it's kind of similar. You have 3 columns of cards called gardens that you can build in front of you. You're going to start out the round with 10 cards. You're going to take 2 of those and start your gardens in front of you. Then you're going to pass the remaining cards to another player. And you just keep doing that until the cards are all gone. And you play those cards in front of you in numerical order. You have to put the card either on top, which is higher, or on the bottom, which is lower. And then you can, again, have 3 columns of cards in front of you. Now, the way you score this game is the colors of cards. I think the blue cards start out as the first round. Once you get through those first round of 10 cards, you're going to score the blue cards that you've put out in your garden. And again, you might have all your cards from that first round in one row, or you might have 3 rows built already, depending on the numbers of cards that you've drafted. But the blue cards are going to score 3 points in the first round. Then you go on to the next round of 10 cards. You're going to deal out 10 cards each player and do the same thing, drafting cards, taking 2 and drafting, and passing the cards around. And then the green cards are going to score 4 points, and the blue cards are going to score 3 points again. So you're going to score those blue cards 4 times, I believe, in this game. There's 3 rounds, excuse me, you're going to score them 3 times. Now, the third round is the end of the game, but you're going to deal out 10 cards again, and gray cards after the third round are going to score 7 points. So you can see the decision making that's going to happen here. In that first round, when it scores blue cards only, should I put out some gray cards and just hang on and get the 7 points in the third round for those? I mean, that's a decision you're going to have to make in this game. And then there's another color of card, a pink card, and those cards score according to how many of them you have played during the course of the 3 rounds. And so there's a lot of nice decision making in Ohanami. I watched this played on YouTube, that's what I do. And I decided that was really cool. And we picked, it's inexpensive, little tucked box card game. I wish it was, I don't like cardboard tucked boxes because we're going to wear this out and have to throw it away eventually. And buy an aftermarket tuck box in order to keep this game. But I wish they would do something about that. But this is an outstanding game that you'll play and play and play. It's just, I cannot recommend it highly enough. That's Ohanami.
He also did Quicks.
Oh yeah? Same guy did Quicks, Lori just told me. My producer. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, the next game we'll talk about is Hanakoi. If you have not played this, it's a 2-player only game. Oh, and by the way, Ohanami plays 2 to 4, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, we'll be buying a tuck box for this. So that's 20 minutes game time. I love those kinds of games. You guys, sometimes little card games like this are just absolutely outstanding to have in your library. So Hanakoi is a very nice game for exactly that. This is such a gaming perfection marvel. In Hanakoi, you have big geisha cards, and each geisha card is going to have a token on it called a favor token, and you want that token, it's going to start out in the middle of those large cards, and you want that token to come to your side of the card. It's 2-player only, like I mentioned, so it's either going to be on your opponent's side or your side eventually. Once you get 4 of those tokens to be on your side, you win the game, or 11 charm points, which is the geishas are worth various values of charm points. In this game you have 4 action tokens. Each player has a picture on the token to tell you what action that is. And each turn you're going to take one of those actions. But before the game even starts, there's a regular sized deck of cards, and you're going to shuffle those up and put one of those cards in the box. And that is a big deal. Because if you're trying to get majority on one side of those geishas, and you do that by card values, 2s or 3s or 6s or whatever card values there are, because there's 6 of the 6ers, there's 4s of the 4s, there's 5 of the 5s, and so you're thinking to yourself, you know, I've got three of the 6s in my hand. That leaves 3 6s out. Now, my opponent may have some. That card that we put back in the box may be a 6. So I don't know what I want to do with these 6s, because my action tokens, there's various things I can do. Okay, I dug out these action tokens because I couldn't remember what they all did. But you have 4 actions you can take, and once you take that action, you simply turn it over to the black and white side. But when the color side's up, it's still active for you to take. And so you're going to take 4 actions during the course of that round. One of them is to hide a card. You're going to hide a card under this token, and you're going to play it at the end of the round. Now, that's a tough decision, you guys. Which card you want to place under there to hide. Then another token says you can trash 2 cards out of your hand. Another token says you play 3 cards in front of you, your opponent takes 1 and plays it in front of them, and you take the other 2 and play them in front of you. And the 4th action token, you lay down 2 pairs of cards. Your opponent chooses 1 set to play in front of them, and you're going to keep the other. And I tell you what, those decisions are so difficult to make. If you're playing 2 pairs of cards in front of you, I guarantee you there's one of those pairs you like more. And you're just sweating when you're putting down those pairs of cards because you don't want your opponent to take the one you want. But inevitably they will. And after the round is over with, you're going to tell yourself, and you'll say this every time, I should have done the other action first and that other action last, or I should have done that one action second, and then because of the cards I had left over. There's so many tough decisions to make in Hanakoi, and whatever decisions you make will be the wrong one. That's how you'll feel about this game. And we've had this ever since it came out. I was sold on it immediately. I watched it played and I thought, man, that game is for me. And we have played it and played it and played it. It's one of my favorite all-time games. All-time games. And I'm talking about all games that I've ever played in my life. This is one of my favorite all-time games, Hanakoi. Alright, this is a game that came out as a reskinning just recently called District Noir. And in District Noir, you are a faction of gangsters and you're trying to take over District Noir. And similar to Hanakoi, when you start the game, you're going to shuffle the cards and put 3 of them back in the box. Because again, you're trying to get a set collection going. I think it's 5, 6, 7, and 8. Those are the factions that you're going to try to collect. And whoever has the most of those particular numbers are going to have control of that particular faction. And there's betrayal cards, there's alliance cards. Betrayal cards, of course, are minuses. Alliance cards are pluses that are going to add to your total in your majority. And this is kind of a push your luck thing. Start the round out, you're going to have 5 cards in your hand. You're going to take 6 turns during the round. You've got 5 cards in your hand, and your 6th turn will be to take cards from the middle of the table. And on your turn, you're either going to play a card or you're going to take cards. So you play a card in the center of the table and you're looking at what's available, because one time during the round you have to take cards. There's no option. You have to take cards one time. And if you wait till the very end, when you take cards, you're just going to get whatever's left over. So you want to try to plan of when you take those cards so that you're getting something you really want. And by the way, this is a 2-player only game by Pandasaurus. And you're trying to plan on when you want to take those cards. Because you're looking at them and you might say, oh, I want to get those 2 8s that are out there, but there's a betrayal card in there, a -2. I don't want that doggone thing. But I might have to take it. I might have to take it because I want the 8s so bad. And there's a city card out there. In this deck, there are 3 city cards. If you can get all 3 of them played, you win the game automatically. There's no other counting at the end of the game. There's nothing. If you play those 3 city cards, you win the game. I've never been able to do that all the times we've played this game. I can't figure out how to make that happen. It's too tricky. It's bigger than my brain. But in this game, it is so much fun to try to do that. The deck of cards is all linen. One of the things I like about it so much is the size of the cards. They're just as wide as a regular playing card, but they're kind of longer. So I really like that. And they're linen, and these are the player aids. These aren't the cards. So that deck is kind of nice. And then you get this faction token that you have a different color silhouette on each side. A nice heavy faction token that comes with the game, and that'll tell you whose turn it is. So yeah, I forget the name of this game when it was originally released.
It was something strange.
Yeah, something odd. Halls of something.
Let me look it up.
No, I'm guessing. But District Noir is so much fun to play. You will enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. Because again, this is a type of game that just keeps on giving. You play it, it takes you 15, 20 minutes, set it up and play it again. Try your luck again. And it's so much fun. That's District Noir. Oh yeah, I mentioned the designer. A game by Nao Shimamura and Nabutaki Dogen, or Dogen. I'm sure those names are completely slaughtered. I feel bad about that, but those are tough names.
It was originally called Throne and the Grail.
Throne and the Grail, that's it. Throne and the Grail. And but District Noir, yeah, it's a game you can pick up and play with confidence. The Bones Collector says so. This is a 2-player only game we've had for ages, Jaipur. In Jaipur, you're trying to become the best trader ever. You have a market of cards, a hand of cards. You're going to either take goods from that market of cards or sell cards and take scoring tokens and add those up at the end of the game. And you have camel cards that are in the game that you can take from the market if you wish, and you're going to use those as trade goods for taking cards out of the market. Now, if you take more than one card out of the market, you have to exchange cards from your hand. Camel cards or goods cards, you have to put those in the market to exchange for the ones you're taking. If you only take one card, of course, you can replenish from the deck. And you can spend those camels and use those. Those are kind of currency in here. And that's just great, but if you can, person with the most camels at the end of the game gets a 5-point bonus token, and that can really swing the game. And the first person to have 2 victory tokens, so at the end of the round, you're gonna, if you win the round, you're gonna take a victory token. The first one to have 2 victory tokens wins the game. And there's some other rules having to do with some of the finer goods that diamond and silver and gold, I think. You have to have at least 2 cards to buy tokens with those particular goods cards. But Jaipur is so fantastic. I know it's been reprinted and it doesn't look like this anymore. And I don't know if it's better or worse, but hopefully the game is still the same. We love it, and this is just what's in the box, you know. When you sell goods, you can sell as many goods as you want, but if you sell 3 or more, you get a bonus token, and then you add all those tokens up at the end of the game, at the end of the round, and whoever has the most points gets the victory token. But Jaipur, yeah, we've had it a long time. It's by Sebastian Pauschon, and published by GameWorks, this particular edition. Okay. Another old game, Biblos. We've had it a long, long time. This is for 2 to 4 players. It's by Dr. Steve Finn. We still have a Steve Finn game. We have 2.
Fisheries of
Whatnot Cabinet and the Fisheries of Gloucester. We still have by Steve Finn. And we've had others by him, but have since moved on. What was that? Was Capital a copy by him? I can't remember. And we had
Biblos Dice.
Biblos Dice, which is a good game, but we moved that on. In this game, you have a deck of cards, and you're going to pass that deck of cards back and forth. When it's your turn, you're going to take 3 cards off the top of that deck, one at a time. So you turn one up, and you decide, do I want that card to go to me, to my opponent, or to the auction pile? And so you'll choose one of those 3 things and place that card there. Then you take another card, and you ask yourself, do I want that card? Do I want to give it to my opponent? Or do I want it to put it in the auction pile? And then you do it a third time, and then your turn is done. And you give the deck of cards to your opponent. Or whoever, this plays 2 to 4. I only played at 2. I'm just going to, so, yeah, I hope I'm not confusing you. And so they do the same thing. Take 3 cards, one at a time, off the top of the deck. You can't take 3 cards and look at them, obviously, because this is kind of a push your luck thing. Because if you turn up that first card, and you're like, oh, I mean, it's 2 gold, but maybe I'll turn up a 3 gold. Should I wait? Or should I give that gold to my opponent? And gold you want, because that auction pile you're building, you're going to want gold to buy cards out of that auction pile at the end of the round. Oh, what should I do? Or you might have turned up a church card. Now in Biblos, you have a board with 5 dice on it. And, the D6s. And those dice, I think they start out at 3 at the beginning of the game, and you can manipulate those dice. And this is a set collection game. So those dice are different colors, all 5 of them, and if you win that color or that faction, that die at the end of the round, you're going to take it. So your score is going to be the value of the dice that you have won during the course of that round. So the scores are going to be small. I mean, because you're going to win 3 dice or 2 dice or something, and they're going to be a value 1 to 6, and that's how you add those together, and that's how you score in this game. But that church card that you may have drawn can give you the opportunity to move dice up or down, depending on what church card you happen to have taken. Now, you don't have to use that church card right then. You can put it in the auction pile and take a chance that you might buy that back during the auction. But there's a lot to think about in this little set collection game. It's fantastic. Half an hour playtime, and again, you'll play it over and over and over again. We've had it. I mean, I can't. It's hard to say or really articulate what it feels like to play a game and immediately see how much this is going to give back to you for what you paid for it. And the game just keeps on giving, and that's what I call an evergreen game. It just keeps giving you over and over and over again. No matter how many times you play it, you still love it, and it hasn't lost its luster, and that's Biblos. All right, this is a game that came out, I think it was in my top games of 2023. Noir, and the designer is Thomas DuPont. Pandasaurus Games was the publisher. It's for 2 to 4 players. We played at 2, obviously, and it plays great at 2. 30-minute playtime. Now in Noir, you're Vikings. And you start out the game with 2 Viking cards in front of you, 3 in your hand, and then you have a board in the center of the table, a small board that you fold out. Obviously, it's a tiny board. It's in this little box. And you're going to have a market of location cards, I think they're called, at the top, 6 of them, 2 decks of cards, and you're going to turn 3 of them up for each deck. And then you're going to have a deck of Viking cards that you're going to turn up 5 Viking cards below that board. And what you're trying to do is move your scoring marker as far as you can along this track. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can do that, because you have not only a scoring marker, but you have a reputation marker. And the first thing you do on your turn is move that scoring marker, believe it or not. Before you've done anything, you move your scoring marker. You move your scoring marker, the number that is represented by your reputation. It only goes up to 5, your reputation. So you're working on getting that reputation up as fast as you can. So you're trying to get your reputation up so you can move that scoring marker at the beginning of each turn. Now in this game, again, you're looking at your hand of cards, and you're going to play cards in front of you, and that's called recruiting. So you're going to recruit Vikings for your crew. And when you do that, you have to do it in groups of color. And when you play that Viking card down in front of you, let's say you already have 2 yellow cards down there, 2 yellow Vikings, you're going to play another yellow Viking card, and you lay it so that you can only see the tops of the cards. And the top of the card has a resource, I guess I'll call it. And so when you play that card, if you have 3 of that color, you're going to take all 3 of those benefits right now. And that's how you're going to gather bracelets and recruit tokens, which are part of the currency in this game. And then you're going to try to decide, do I want to buy a location card, which are ships? and you have a ship card that's in your play area. Now once you get one of these location cards, you're going to play that in front of you, on top of your ship card. And you use those bracelet tokens to score or get benefits from that card. And it works like this. It's like 3 columns on the ship cards. If you play 1 token, you're going to take all the benefits of the ship card location cards that you have played in front of you in the first column. If you play 2 bracelets, if you're going to do 2 columns of benefits. If you play 3 bracelets, you're going to score all 3 columns on those ship location cards. So there's a lot going on in this game for this little box. I really, really love it. The first time I watched it played, I wasn't quite so sure, but I think we got this. Did we get this up to Haven?
Yeah.
I think we did. We were up to Haven and he had it. Or maybe I ordered from him. I can't remember. But anyways, as soon as we brought it home and played it, Laura and I were blown away. This is a little more complex than anything I've showed you so far. There's a little bit more going on in this game. So if you like a small card game that has a little bit of pop to it, Noir is right up your alley. If you like being Vikings and that whole world, this game is outstanding. It was a surprise for me. You know what? I love games that offer some nice complexity in a tiny box, and Noir does exactly that. All right, I'm going to talk about 2 games that are by the same designers. And that is Molly Johnson, Robert Melvin, and Sean Stankiewicz. And one is called Point Salad, one is called Shuffle Truffle. Truffle Shuffle. It's easy to say. And Point Salad is the easier of the 2. And Point Salad is almost, this is just would you just call it a simple game, I suppose? It's very easy. There's not a lot of rules to this game, but it plays so fast because of that it's simply a joy to get involved with. You have a market of cards. You're going to decide, do I want the contract, which is at the top, or do I want the vegetables in the market? Well, here's the rub. Each of these cards is a vegetable on one side, a contract on the other. And the contracts are different scoring items. So you have to decide on those cards at the top, do I want to take one of those contracts? Because if you don't take it and somebody takes cards from that column, that contract will be flipped over and become a vegetable in the market. So you're taking a chance if you want that and you don't take it right then. But that's a kind of a push your luck thing. And so it's kind of fun. But if you take it early, are you going to be able to collect the vegetables needed to score that contract card? So there's that balance going on. And this game plays from 2 to 4 players, and 2 to 6 players, and depending on the number of players, it scales the amount of cards that are going to be used in the game. And we've messed with that a little bit. If we want a longer game, even though 2 players, I think it says 26 cards or 36 or something, we add more cards into it just to make the game a little longer, because it does play very quickly. And it's so much fun. And then at the end of, once all the cards have been taken, then you add up your contracts. If you've managed to score them, because you have to have certain vegetables to score those contracts, and then of course the player with the most points wins. 15 minutes, 20 minutes game. I mean, it's we've played this so many times. Oh my gosh, just played it. And once you get this out, it just plays so quickly that you will do it over and over again. And that's Point Salad. I can see why it was so popular. It's popular with us. Simple rule set, plays very quickly, but just a heck of a lot of fun. Truffle Shuffle is a game where you have a pyramid of cards, and you're going to draft cards out of that pyramid. And it's a set collections thing, and you select a truffle card from this pyramid that are available and add it to your hand. The truffle cards have special actions, and this is going to make it a little more complex than Point Salad, because it's going to allow you to do certain things with those truffle cards that you select. And then you're going to create orders, and you have sets of truffles to earn the most chocolate coins, and the person with the most coins at the end of the game wins the game. And as soon as I saw this game, found out it was by those people that did Point Salad, I had to give it a go. I'm glad I did. Again, there's a little bit more to weaving the strategy in this game because all these cards do something different. So if you like that type of thing, you know, a little bit more complex than Point Salad. But hey, I tell you what, I love Point Salad and I love Truffle Shuffle. They're both outstanding. This is published by AEG. And the last set of games I'm going to talk about is a game that's going to be in my top 10 for 2024. And it's called Kinfire Delve by Kevin Wilson. Doggone it, we have a game by Kevin Wilson, but for whatever life of me, I can't figure it out. One of these games came out in 23 and the other one came out in 24, and there's going to be a third installment in this series. I don't know if we'll get the third one. We have two.
And they're awful good, so we'll see.
They're awful good. And this is a cooperative game, and you can play it solo or two players. And oh my gosh, the publishing in this game is outstanding. These games retail MSRP, I think, for $19.99. And it's one of those times when you buy a game and you go, wow, that was a good value. This box is thick, and it's got a nice picture in the bottom. It's covered up by my Post-it note. But then you got some tokens that come with it, your rule book, and two character sets of cards and some monster cards. And then you also have 4 D6 dice that come with it. I'm going to tip this up in a second. 4 D6s and 1 D10 that's going to be used in the game. Now, the way this game is played, you'll select a boss at the beginning of the game, and it's going to be in the center of the table. Then you'll have minions on all 4 sides of that card, and a deck of cards of minions that you just keep replenishing. So each of you will have a deck of character cards. Let's see if I can find one of those decks in here. Yeah, there they are. And this is outstanding because they have these foil touches on the decks of cards. So you have there's 2 character decks in here. And you'll have one and your partner will have one. And you're going to battle those minions and try to defeat them and get to the boss and defeat that boss. And that's how you win the game. Now, the unique thing about this cooperative card game is that you can help each other by giving one of the cards out of your character deck to that person to help them in battle. But here's the rub. This is all the cards you got. So as you're going through the game and defeating and battling these minions and monsters, you're depleting your deck. And so your partner's going to say, can you give me any help with that? I need help to defeat that one. Well, you're like, well, I mean, I can, but I'm getting low on cards, and I don't know if I can really give you help without slitting my own throat. So there's that balance that you're going to come up against continually in this game, and I love that. We love doing that, and you can do partial damage to these things and go back into battle and defeat them at a later time. But the cards do different things. Aftershock, Vengeance of Stone, Heart of Kinfire, Shard Whip, Kindness, Taunt, Pierce Defenses, Patience. So these cards all do different things, and you're trying to add up how to work that strategy to get through those minions and get to that big boss that you're going to defeat at the end of the game. Well, I didn't think it was going to be that good. And look how nice that insert is, holds everything in here. Card stock is linen and beautiful. Oh, I mean, I just couldn't believe it, $19.99, and when I found out they were doing another one, so this is Vainglory's Grotto. I think that was the first one we got.
Yes.
And then this year we picked up Scorn's Stockade, and oh my gosh, same thing. I'm just blown away by the publishing, and the game itself is outstanding. And the new one is called Callus Lab. Does that sound right? Lab?
Something Lab.
But hey, the point is that this is a game that you can play cooperative or solo, but we love to play it cooperatively. If you've got a partner you like to play games with, sit down and play this game. It is so much fun. And again, there's a variety of bosses to beat, and I don't know. Oh, am I upside down? Okay. You didn't notice that? Don't act like you did. I'm old. That stuff happens. But there's so much variety in here, and you can just keep playing it over and over again. And gosh, we're still struggling with whether we want to get the third box or not. I don't know, because there's a lot of play in both these boxes.
See what it changes.
Yeah. So, and they're a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens in the third edition. But hey, that game is fantastic, as are all the games I talked about in this edition of Bones Collector. I wanted to go through these games because, hey, if that was your gaming library right there, that is fantastic. If you had no other board games, no other games in your possession, those games I just showed you would keep you busy the rest of your life. Just keep playing them over and over again. They're fantastic, you guys, and I only tell you about games that I can recommend to you with confidence that you'll play it and see the beauty in it. But I hope you enjoyed the video today. Thank you for watching. If you would please, take a second on your phone or the television or whatever and give us a thumbs up, because it helps. I say it every video, and every YouTuber says it in every video, but it's the truth. It does help. And please subscribe. I will see you the next time on Bones Collector. Please keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet because of games like the card games, little box card games that I just showed you. I love every one of you, and I'll see you the next time on the Bones Collector. Bye-bye.